Yeah, I'm going to go over a quick overview on the Club of Rome and the Committee of 300, and just some fast comments on it. This is actually a list of the Committee of 300. Abraham Romanovich, the Russian oligarch. That's another one right there. Now, there's so many of these names I can go over. It's ridiculous, but I'm just going to hit the highlights on it real fast. Pretty much anybody of British royalty is involved. But here you got Steve Ballmer. He's in a club of 300. He's the one that just bought the Clippers. That's another name that's out there. Tony Blair, Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs, Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York City. Now, they all have this type of agenda. This is actually the ruling class, if you want to put it that way. And actually, if you get down a little bit more detail, it's the Club of Rome. These things aren't being discussed, and it's almost like you're talking about the Rothschilds all the time, and it's like, that's a little bit that's a tiny, tiny part of it. Also in the Club of Rome is Bronfman, the booze manufacturers. Brzezinski, of course, Warren Buffett. Now, you wonder why he's wealthy. He always wins. He always gets bailed out. I was talking about that the other day. Warren Buffett would have been clobbered if there was no bailout because it bailed out the companies he was invested in. George Herbert Walker Bush, David Cameron. Now I'm going over in alphabetical order, but also at the same time you got George Herbert Walker Bush and you got Bill Clinton, right? Competing different policies, supposedly. One's a conservative, one's a liberal. They're both in the Club of Rome. The Committee of 300. And Wesley Clark, the general, he's the one that dropped the dimes about what the game plan is, what's going to happen for the invasions of the various countries, over in the Middle East. Why did he do that? He's in it with them too. It's almost like every bit of information people think they get as real information on the alternative media, like they're getting the inside scoop on something, is curveballs. I'll tell you that right now. General Wesley Clark, he was actually in the Committee of 300. Now, Rothschilds, yes, Rothschilds, but, you got several names that are Rothschilds as, out of the names of how many, right? And then you got Mario Draghi, running the Central Bank of Europe, Queen Elizabeth, of course, everybody pretty much in the British royalty. Bill Gates, depopulation. Depopulation and I don't want to. He's not going to be remembered for, Windows 95 and Windows 98 or any of his software. He's going to be remembered for vaccinations and depopulation. That's what Bill Gates will be remembered for. Timmy Geithner, TurboTax Timmy himself, right? Mikhail Gorbachev. Remember I was telling you about the Gorbachev Foundation. He was actually president of Russia, or the leader of Russia, or whatever it was, prime minister of Russia. And before he even stepped down, they were giving him the keys to the Presidio back over in by San Francisco. In other words, why were they giving him a formal naval facility in United States land before he act as a foreign leader? At the same time, he was a foreign leader. Now you have Al Gore. Environmentalist Al Gore, supposedly on the opposite side of the aisle from conservative Herbert Walker Bush, all in the same club. Alan Greenspan, again, here you go, another one that's in the Federal Reserve. William Hague, I forgot, I mean, there's so much I can go over on this, but I'm kind of like just bringing this out because it's showing you both sides of the political aisle are in on this. It's not talking about the Council on Foreign Relations. Now, this is actually the Committee of 300, okay? John Kerry, he's involved in it. He's in it. He's, Secretary of State now. Henry Kissinger, Paul Krugman, old moneybags himself. And, it's Oppenheimer, George Osborne. I'm just going to go over this real quick. The Pope, the former Pope, Ratzinger, right? Pope Benedict. Ratzinger, he's in it. David Rock, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds again. Robert Rubin, right? So, I just want to bring this out because, a lot of people are, Peter Sutherland. It's like Paul Volcker. Here's another one. Here you're talking about, oh, he's the opposite. He's the hawk. He's the opposite of, Alan Greenspan or something, right? He's the one that fixed the economy. He's in it, too. So, actually this whole Committee of 300 has been alleged to be involved in, all the drug trafficking in the world or receiving the drug trafficking. Bill Clinton, you wouldn't think too much, that wouldn't be too much of a stretch of imagination if you actually thought about what went on in Mena, Arkansas for all those years. But they do it blazingly. But what's amazing? I know, like, people tell me not to vote because it's rigged, but I say to myself, I'm going to vote, and I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in it every time. 100% of the population needs to actually vote against all the major political parties, and the hell with them. That's really what it comes down to. It's like, we talked about Wesley Clark dropping in dimes about the invasions. General Wesley Clark dropping in dimes about the invasions that were going to happen, in order in the countries over in the Middle East. And, oh, yeah, it's happening, the game plan. Why did he reveal that? It's almost like, I don't know, they throw in another game. They got another game going on. Somebody, and, Warren Buffett, of course. What else is new, right? What else is new? But it gets down a little bit more to this. I'm not going to be lengthy on this deal because actually some of the stuff as old as the hills, centuries old. Venice, right? Venice, the big tourist attraction in Italy. Actually, out of Venice, it's still, that used to be the global dominant power in the world, Venice, right? Now, you look at it today, it's like the quaint tourist attraction. Everybody goes to Venice, right? Now, I'm dropping, because like a lot of people saying it's all the Jews doing everything, and I'm telling you, it's not. And I'm going to probably get in trouble on this deal because I'm telling you, there's a lot more coming out of Italy than you think. Okay? I shouldn't be putting this out, but this is actually the damn truth all the way. Venice actually is far more powerful today than you want to believe. They're involved in all the major insurance companies in the world. There's people involved in it all throughout the world, out of Venice. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Venice actually has the power. Everybody's talking about Israel. Yeah, right. Yeah, tell me another one, man. Yeah, maybe there's some stuff going on over there too, but I'm not talking about, the where is not even being looked at all is really where the biggest power is. One of the biggest ones out there is the Club of Rome. They make it sound small, but it's actually the Club of Rome that is really behind the depopulation agenda for the entire world. There's too many people on this earth. That's their policy. The U.S. industrial might was responsible for populating the earth too much, in their opinion. The Club of Rome, which is a smaller subset of this Committee of 300, right? So you're looking at Gates, I don't know if he's in the Club of Rome. I kind of doubt it, but he's one of the. He's in the Committee of 300, but you could say, yeah, he's more like a household word in the alternative circles. Yeah, he's involved in vaccinations, the GMO crops, and all this garbage. Everybody knows about this guy. I'm kind of just highlighting just the people's names that people would be more known. But the Club of Rome is actually said, we want to depopulate the world. We got to bring down the agricultural might of the United States and the industrial might of the United States in order to do this. The United States actually stands in the way of their plans. So I'm going to bring this out because I put something out about the Rothschilds, and I was like, and I was surprised the video took off so much, and I was like, it's not the whole deal. This isn't the whole deal. This isn't the whole deal. But, a lot of people seem to gravitate towards, yeah, the Rothschilds are involved, but they immediately think it's a big Jewish conspiracy theory. That's what they conclude. And, that was not my intention when I put out that video about the Rothschilds. Because when you look at this Committee of 300, it includes all nationalities in the world, including the Russian oligarchs, okay? I mean, it really includes everybody. It really includes everybody. So that's really what the deal is. And some of the oldest power around, even going back to Rome and Venice, are behind this new world order. So now, are people going to go start attacking Italians? I hope not, because it's not the average Italian that's doing this type of stuff. Because, that's what happens when, you say it's the Rothschilds. There's all of a sudden, there's all these people against, well, the Zionists, whatever the hell that means. But you know what I mean? It gets a little stupid sometimes. But, here we have George Herbert Walker Bush, Bill Clinton, all, different sides of the aisle, where we're talking about a conservative policy maker like Paul Volcker for economic policy on the Federal Reserve is in here. Robert Rubin is in here. You're talking like all kinds of people that seem to have opposite political or economic or social views, and they're involved. This is the Committee of 300. There is an Illuminati in the United States, and, actually, if you look at this roster, it's pretty much included. Bill Clinton probably got his name. I don't really dislike this Bill Clinton guy too much, to tell you the truth, but he's like a household word, and a lot of people understand that a lot of the, the rumors about the drugs and all this stuff and all the different things that happen around him. Actually, people realize, they have to realize that this guy's anointed with something, because he would have been in trouble a long time ago, and he's in with the group. But it's like there's a lot of names on here that will not be familiar to most people. And I'm not familiar with all these names, but I'm familiar with more of these names than I highlighted. But, here's the ones everybody concentrates on. Rothschilds, Mario Draghi, they're not even too sure about. The Queen of England, Bill Gates, Timmy Geithner, Al Gore, but they don't really realize how important these people still are. They really are. They're calling the shots. And it's been alleged that, well, let me put it to you this way. There's an agenda going on here. There's an agenda to plan the way the world is going to be. And if you get down to the subset of the Committee of 300, it's the Club of Rome. The Club of Rome. And the financial power, the real financial power in the globe, actually a lot of it is out of Venice. You think it's all just a little quaint city? Nope. It's still out of Venice. It's all connected with the major Lloyd's of London and all that. It's all connected with the biggest, most powerful insurance companies where they do reinsurance types of ventures and stuff. I've seen some of this stuff, and it's like it will blow your mind. There's a whole other financial world out there that's not known to, the broker yo-yos you see out there on YouTube telling you about this and that and stuff. There's a whole hidden financial world out there, big time. And, it's like, I should actually point out this Warren Buffett clown again, because Buffett, he's been known for not paying many taxes, but he's one of the richest guys on the earth, right? But he hardly pays that much taxes, really. So, that'll tell you something. That tells you something right there. Why is he anointed? He's in the club. He's in the club. So anyway, I just want to put this out here nice and quick, because most people, now that you know this, and maybe you believe it, that this is really the forefront of it. Actually, the Club of Rome is the real pinnacle of the damn thing. You know a name. What are you going to do about it? I'm telling you, you want to be against what their goals are. And I'm going to tell you this flat out again. Their goals are to deindustrialize and also bring down the agricultural power of the United States. This is a lot why the major media is actually kind of playing kid gloves with Vladimir Putin. I think Vladimir Putin might be a little bit on edge with some of this stuff, but it's like the game is they want you to dismantle the only system in the world that has ever existed throughout all of history that we know about, that whereby people broke away from the power, and that system is the true USA system. They want you to reject that or to make you think it's hopeless and you do nothing. Because if you do nothing, you will lose. I mean, it's not a guarantee you're going to win if you try to actually exercise your political powers and your constitutional rights. It's not a guarantee you're going to win. You're up against formidable foes. But getting off your ass and getting away from the giddy bullshit is the number one thing. But recognizing what the real problem is, it's actually far bigger than the Rothschilds. And they are actually using this. It's my opinion that the strategy of the Club of Rome and the Committee of 300 is to create anti-Semitism as a deflection strategy away from them, because it actually involves everybody. The powers that be on the top are all it's a broad spectrum of the whole group of everybody that is from every nation practically, but they're of the same type of cloth. They want to reduce the population of the world, and it's like there's other lesser organizations that are controlled by this. Actually, the Committee of 300 is actually a lesser organization of the Club of Rome. And again, probably the biggest financial power in the world is in Venice. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Venice is not just some quaint little tourist attraction. It is extremely powerful, involved in all types of insurance throughout the world. And if you're looking at what insurance actually is worth, when you're talking about reinsurance agreements and how you have different tiers that can be set up in the financial world, and I don't understand a lot of that stuff, to tell you the truth, because I've seen some of it, and it's mind-boggling. There's banks actually set up that are strictly internet banks that nobody banks in. Nobody to the public banks in. They're internet banks, and they're private club banks. Private club banks. As a matter of fact, that Forbes list is total garbage. It's total garbage. The wealthiest in the world are not on that Forbes list. I know that for a fact. Anyway, have a nice day.